Chasing dreams down that open road. Living fast, baby, all I know. Daddy told me gotta give it my all. Cause we're some blue-collared outlaws. We're living life at full speed, there's no pacing. Midwest lifestyle, Ohio grudge racing. Taking home the money wide open on that open road. It's full throttle since the baby bottle, baby, this is all I know. And overload, tires roll, tell them I want all the smoke. Slow boats will choke in my rear view. Adios, run your car, knock your mouth, put your money where your motor is. Heavy hitters, dream killers, kill shot, hold them still, told them chill, we on fire. Life is lit with rocket fuel, stop it fool. Blue-collared outlaws, who think you talking to? Winning attitude all on the line and we ain't about to lose. Beat the brake pads off, knock your car up out the shoes. Line them out, chalk them up, underdogs on top again. Never say die, we from Columbus, so we gotta win. Hard working, fast running outlaws and street racing. All your dreams is in my tail lights, you can keep chasing.
What's up, everyone? Happy Monday. We're back again. Well, you know the last couple live feeds. And I'm just going to get into it. You know, normally we do high and all that stuff, but let's just get right to it. Last couple months, really. I don't know. Crybaby's been at it a lot sooner than normal. Normally they're just now starting, but for whatever reason, they just starting earlier. So in an attempt to dispel all the crybaby myths and rumors and lies about Corey quit it. You know, how all these racers who are consistently at the top or going many rounds were born blessed by the race gods and given a winning car to start and, you know, have money trees and blah, blah, blah. All the unfair advantages that every crybaby can possibly concoct. I felt like maybe it's a better idea if these guys come on and tell you their stories and how it really happened. So we got some of the fastest guys in the country. We got a couple coming. We got a couple running a little late here, but we got John Capizzi. You guys may have heard of him.
How you doing?
Great. You may have heard of this guy, Beater Bomb.
Hey,
how's it going, buddy?
just another day.
So I know Ryan's on his way, and Jason is on his way home, and they got bad weather in Kentucky, so Logan had to duck out, and they got to batten down the hot hatches down there because they got snow coming in.
Oh, wow.
We've had snow up here too.
We got none. I know everybody above and below us is like snow, and I was running around in shorts and t-shirt today.
Oh, no snow here, but it's pretty cold.
I think it's like 45, 50 degrees today, so that's fine for me.
Yeah.
Vicky loves Beater Bomb. That thing, I don't think that'll ever go away.
Nope.
So while we're waiting on the other guys and you guys are here, let's just get into it for those that aren't as familiar with you as they should be. John, why don't you tell them, you know, who you are and a little bit about you.
All right. I'm John Capizzi. I'm from Holland, Michigan. And I have a transmission and kind of a little bit of performance shop. Do some tuning here, especially Holley EFI. Do a lot with performance transmissions, Turbo 400s, 4L80s, Power Glides. Get into a little bit of converter tech with good friends at PTC, Circle D, Hughes, you know, several companies, and kind of came into racing sort of school of hard knocks way. Started with a car that was not fast. The original Mustang that I had, I bought the week after I graduated high school, and it went 1552 at 89 miles an hour stock. in second gear. So automatic 5-liter car, 94 Mustang. So that's where I came from. And that car from 1999 to about 2011, in 2011, that car was running 820s. It had 821, 176 with a small block Ford in it, single turbo, and learned a lot, probably learned more what not to do on my own car than what I learned to do right. And, that trial and error thing is the thing everybody always gets out of place. Well, you got trial and error. The problem is you're attempting to have less error. You want the trials because you want the gains, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. And a lot, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, there wasn't a clear blueprint on how to do some of the stuff that is fairly commonplace now. How do you make 1,000 horsepower out of a turbo small block? Like, it was monkey see, monkey do. I looked at guys like John Urist and Dan Millen and Mike Murillo. I was part of the, following the NMRA and Fun Ford and World Ford Challenge stuff. We went to that every year. So we saw the guys that were relatively good at that stuff. But how do you do it? There's no classes. They were learning on the job, just like we're still learning on the job today. So, I run a little shop here. I came from small block Ford stuff and started with the junkyard LS stuff, sort of as a joke, actually kind of as a timeout, because to be honest, I kind of ran out of talent with the small block Ford stuff. I didn't know what I was doing anymore, and I was hurting parts, and it wasn't fun anymore. So I took a break. I put the other car together kind of as a joke, and we went fast with it in the first year. Some of it was trickle down from stuff that I learned from the other car. You knew where to have bar angles. You knew about what spring rates to have. You knew about what converter you wanted in the car and final drive ratio, and threw everything together, whipped it in there. Bam, it's going fast. And it was fun. And, so the short story for, like, right now, the haters and all the trash talk and everything else, there are a lot of people right now that are not having fun in their current racing situation. And if you don't have fun with it, I honestly don't think you have a clear mind. I don't think you'll take the steps necessary to do better as you go. You put pressure on yourself, but without the fun part, you can't see the forest through the trees, and you make bad judgment calls. The performance doesn't match, and the results don't match what you expected to begin the weekend. And you're showing a poor version of yourself to other people. So it's fun, I think, is paramount. You're allowed to make mistakes. We all do. And if you make a mistake at the racetrack, you know what? You're probably not going to do that same thing again. There's no better teacher than a misstep. And so I don't know. There's kind of a rambly answer to that, but
that's all right. Mr. Beaterbaum, how about you, buddy?
Well, obviously, my name is Joey. I live in Nebraska, pretty far away from, most racers, most well-known racers. I'm kind of the lone shark around my area. Ryan is about 3 hours south of me. So growing up, there really wasn't a lot around me, and the beater, as everybody knows me from, I've had since I was 18, so roughly 15 years, and started out as a 4-cylinder and drove it to college and just went on and on. Well, one day we went to the racetrack down in Kansas City. There was a track there called KCIR, and I saw an LS Fox body there. And it went pretty fast for back in the day. I think it maybe went 1080s on motor. And I was like, this was back before nobody really had LS Fox bodies. I mean, this might have been, 10 years ago now, maybe, but around my area, at least, they were very few and far between. And I was like, man, I want to build one of those. And that's how the old beater bomb started. And it's just obviously has transformed, over the years. Faster people push you to go faster. And, that is the best part about racing quick competition. There used to be a rival back in the day. Omaha had a cash days at Ice Cream Cruise, is a big event that 1320 Video puts on. 1320 Video lives in Omaha with me, so that's a huge show. They have a large following, obviously, so they get a lot of cars. And well, we always used to have a cash days the day before the car show because everybody would come into town for the car show, and Ryan would be one of them. There'd be a lot of Kansas City cars, and we had this rivalry. And I wasn't as fast as I was, these days. And they say, faster people make you faster. And I didn't like losing as much as I did back then. And that's how, things evolve. And I wanted to touch point one of the things, the internet says these days, or, you got to work harder. And kind of something John touched on is that I feel like what stands out from the group of guys you're going to have on today is that a lot of us tried stuff that wasn't the normal. There was a few years back where I struggled, and it was because I was just trying different things on how to be faster than the norm. And maybe you could spin that into, oh, you need to work harder. Money doesn't drive you to be faster. It's maybe trying different stuff. And that doesn't really cost you money. It just costs you time. So it just depends how much time you have. Are you smart with thinking in your decisions? And that is what I feel like makes people faster. And what sets, this group apart from others is that we went through our struggles on, how to get fast, quote unquote. I mean, there's always somebody faster out there, no doubt about it. You just handpicked certain racers that are known to be fast, but every given day we lose, it's just part of racing. If you're not out there, you're not losing. And that's just how I feel like some of us came to be where we're at. And we all started from the bottom also. But otherwise, I'm just rambling on there. And like I said, I'm from Nebraska, out here in the middle of nowhere, kind of right in the middle of the U.S. And that's about it.
Mr. Casey Max, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, doing pretty good.
How about you? Won't you give everybody your quick history?
So, Ryan, Casey Max, got the Firebird about 21 years ago when I was 16. Drove through high school, had a rockin' 2.8 V6 in it. That evolved into everybody's dream, 350 small block Chevy. Sprayed it, broke it. Put 383 in it, sprayed it, broke it. Decided this was dumb. In like 07, went with a Turbo LS 4L80. Turboed it, broke it. And rinse and repeat for probably 6 combinations. Like that car's probably had 60 different motors in it over the years. And I mean, it's been back half twice, caged 3 or 4 different times. And just like everybody else, go out there, learn. And I'm a really big guy on, DIY and doing it myself and learning. And, if I took better notes, I'd probably be quicker sooner. But over the years, got used to taking more notes and, spent a lot of times going out in first round and had very, very few second round wins. And, sorry. And, I have to say we probably have all lost far more first round races in our careers than we have probably ever gotten, total event wins or even round wins to a point. I mean, we've all put in so much time learning from each mistake. And that's the biggest thing, is to ask yourself, why, what happened? Was it my program? Was it my car? Was it a part failure? I mean, for a long time, and it's going to be part failures, trying to fix stuff or figure stuff out. And that's where a lot of us have been. So, yeah.
So one common theme I'm hearing is all of you've had your cars for a very long time, and over that time learned how to refine them to the point where they are now. John, you said your car took 12 years to get to 8.9 or 820s, was it?
Yep.
So it didn't happen overnight for any of you.
There is no part you can buy that's more important than track time, than time making laps. Because data is, you can't buy data. And there's no such thing as bad data. Well, maybe there is, but the only bad data is something you can't learn anything from. If it loses the tire at 300 feet because you tried something in a 4-link, that's good data, because it might work better some spot, but not somewhere else. It's a measuring stick. It's something to try. And the outside the box thinking, that's how stuff gets faster.
So what's the most outside of the box thing? We'll go through everybody that you've tried that worked.
Which way I point this? Hold on. It's going that way. There we go. Joey, elaborate. There you go.
Well,
Right.
have you seen?
He's not going.
Have you seen that butthurt bar? I mean, that couldn't be.
Wrong end.
Oh, I haven't released that yet, but while everyone was looking at the butthurt bar, I went through trials and tribulations through a year of struggling. Like I was saying, I look over data all winter. I mean, out where I'm from, you can't race during the winter time because obviously it's pretty shitty out. But I sat through all winter and looked over my data on where I could improve. And I don't radial race like John. Ryan and I, we slick tire race and no prep race, and a lot of the surfaces we race on are pretty shitty up top but pretty good down low. And I would notice, like, heavy front end car, the front end would drop and I'd lose traction. So I came up with a solution on how to keep the front end up, and I have air shocks on the front, and they hold the front end up or lift it up given certain scenarios. That's probably what Ryan's talking about, because one time I was out there, I was like, I can't get my car loaded. The front end's too low. You go in there and you trigger it based on TPS, and it just lifts up in the front, and people's jaws just drop. I mean, I come up with some dumb stuff, but I tell you what, in the end, it works pretty good. And I mean, there's different ways to skin the cat, and a lot of people don't know it, but I mean, everyone was in the back looking at the butthurt bar, but they didn't realize in the front, like, once you get so much travel, it's hard to get it up, so some little assistance goes a long way. And over time, I mean, they're kind of phased out now, but there are certain tracks where when you have that much travel like I do, it's hard to get it up the last couple inches, and a little bit of help goes a long way. So just something out of the ordinary that, I mean, probably 99% of people out there don't realize or don't even know. And there's a few smart racers that have picked up on it. Like, you'll look, when there was a couple times that I would be doing a burnout and it nearly like lift the front end up all at full travel, because it was based on wheel speed, and in the burnout you're spinning. So if the back tires are spinning, you need more help. So you get the front end up higher, more weight on the back, and it helps out. So there was a few times in the burnout that I left them turned on just to see if people would notice. And a lot of people were like, man, that is weird. And they just never put two and two together. But hey, that's how I think outside the box, and obviously the Butthurt bar, simple physics, and it steered its course, and did what I wanted, did what I needed, and allowed me to make several promoters change rules based on quote unquote safety. I mean, nothing is safe in this game, but hey, it is what it is, and it can be sitting on the shelf for as long as I need it, and just another tool in the toolbox. But that's about all my innovations, I would call it, for right now. And yeah.
I agree, Shane. I think I saw that 2 or 3 years ago at War in the Woods, and I saw it, and it took me a minute to realize what the hell you had done. And then I looked at it and I was like, that's genius.
That's pretty trick.
That's the most genius thing ever.
Yeah, when you lose, I think I came with like $35,000 in finals wins that I lost directly from not having my bumper trip into beams. So I was like, I'm gonna get some of these inches back, and then it never like made the difference for me ever.
Right.
We never had a race that close with that. So, and I think our next closest race was with Joey, and then didn't have it. And that was tight. I didn't have it. I wish I would have, because it would have made a little bit bigger difference.
Yeah, 003 was about as close as we get for sure.
Yeah, and I think that is still my tightest race with a timer system. We've had some really, really tight ones lately, but
yeah.
So that's what I think about your cars, most innovative. But anything you want to share? I know we all got our secrets, but anything other than that, Ryan?
I mean, back in like 2019, we tried that short arm system when I was getting beat by Fox bodies all the time, and I whipped up something and gave it an 8.5-inch upper bar, and I was like, wow, this thing works great. And then, Tin Soldiers came out with a cool kit later on that was a lot nicer than mine. So that was pretty neat. Flipped over caster camber plates, I think back in 2017, to give the front end more shaft to expose. So everybody thought we had long travel front struts, but they're just stuff from Summit Racing that we were just making work with some crazy spring package and just some flipped over parts and a plasma cutter. So, and then all of a sudden, like Racecraft's got these flat under the cap bearing mount strut caps. So I was like, well, that's pretty neat. So it's been cool to see some stuff that, a lot of us have came up with and see come to market, whether, other people had the same idea or, they just thought it was a great idea or saw somebody doing something different. I was like, man, I want to try that more, Like Joey, I think he went way too extreme with 25 inches of front travel. I mean, good Lord, man. I mean, he's got to have a seat slider moving him forward so it doesn't flip over some days. So,
I can't see out the front. I just look off to the side.
You just need plexiglass
maybe an airbag and a hinge on the seat.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the worst thing now is we all have cars and really we need to build trucks so we can see over the hood. So, I mean, that's number one reason why we pull the hood off on all these backwards track races is because by the time we raise crank center line and we give it some travel in the front to really get the, the weight transferred as needed. I mean, for safety, it's easier to see without the hood there. So,
yeah.
How about you, John? And then we'll get to Jason and let him do his intro.
I'm gonna say outside the box thing is probably realistically the hydraulic roller revolution that I think kind of TJ at Baker Engineering, he's kind of in charge of my engine program, and he cooked up a camshaft for me in 2016. And so we take a junkyard 5.3 LS and we spin the thing 8,500 RPM, and the converter flashes 7,200. So you're never in peak torque. We made a 1,400 wheel horse with 3 different engines, 2 different cars with kind of that similar setup. Hand ported, 243 heads, stock size fasteners, just ARP drop in studs, stock rockers, stock valves, blah, blah, blah. And that was like the anti for everything that I had known, because I come from like Dart small block Ford stuff, and I made the same power, but it took about $12,000 more motor to do it. And it was less reliable than the LS at that point. So just kind of the RPM revolution, I think, in my program is kind of my outside the box thing. The internet told you can't rev a stock bottom end motor, and I don't know. You're trading one problem for a different one, I guess. Deal with the oiling and windage, make the valve train happy, and then you don't have to deal with cylinder pressure down low. So, and then converter tech. Those two things. Soft couples, keep the drive shaft curve happy and keep the RPM up there, and don't lose the tire on the gear change.
Nice. Mr. Terrell, how are you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you guys? Sorry I was a bit late there. So.
That's all right. So we'll just catch you up. Just tell everybody who you are, brief history, your brief racing history, and then throw us one oddball thing you've tried that worked really well with your in racing for you.
All right. Well, before I do that, I know I've talked to every one of these guys except Ryan. I don't think I've ever talked to Ryan in person. So just really a fan of how you carry yourself, man. I actually almost sent you a message the other day just because you just race really well, and like you lose really well, and just the way you handle yourself the whole time, it's really awesome to watch. So
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I talked to Joey a little bit, but like I think what's cool about you and Joey together, I was thinking about this a lot the other day, is a lot of the guys that are kind of going fast with the no prep stuff. Like I never street raced. I didn't do it the way you guys did. And I'll talk about that in a second. But like the reason I think about a race car the way that I do is because my dad was an NHRA super stock racer. So I've watched him continually throw pennies in a barrel his whole life to make his car, which is a 305 small block, faster. And like he taught me that. And like to watch you guys come from what you do, like basically coming from the streets and then keep evolving and like thinking about how to make cars faster is really cool. Like you're not the majority when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's really, I don't know your whole background, but it's just really cool and that's actually what made, like Brad's not here with me, but just picture him right here. That's what made us want to run the no prep stuff. It was kind of like the Wild Wild West. Like we got to try stuff that we wanted to, that like we weren't allowed doing class racing. Like it just looked really fun, and it's been really fun. It's awesome. But yeah, I came, my dad's an NHRA guy. Like I grew up at all the racetracks on this side of the Mississippi, and man, NHRA racing is extremely boring. I actually did not like drag racing. I thought it was horrible. Then kind of found my own way later in life and built my first car in a garage. And I told everybody I wanted to like have an X275 car, and that was like 10 years ago. And I knew how to weld barely, like with a flux core MIG welder. And my stuff was so bad, bro. Like it was so bad. So I went to welding school because I wanted to know how to TIG weld on my own race car. And then that's the short version. 10 years later, we're doing what we're doing. We've been in business for 7 years, but the whole motivation to make 10-cylinder race cars was so that we could drag race. My family sacrificed their life for it, but we got into radial stuff because that was what was hot at the time. Really couldn't afford to do what we were doing when we started racing. I'm sure everybody can relate to that. And radial race for 3 or so years. Won a championship in the slowest radial class there is. So, can't be super proud about that, but we did it. And the thing that I love about radial stuff that we don't have at this moment is radial set stuff has and had its classes for a while, which is really cool. So like if you decide that you're going to build an Ultra Street car, that class is probably going to be here in 3 years, and you have a very distinct set of rules that you're going to build to. And like man, your turbo might be out of date by the time you get the car together or something, but like the car's basically the same. And then you're looking for, so from radial stuff, when we ran limited 235, we did that with a, kind of Capizzi flavor. It was a stock block motor. It was 330 cubic inch. The year that we were really trying to line the car out, I think we changed the camshaft 5 times, went through the converter, the gear, so radial, the track's always pretty much the same, right? So you're trying to chase these numbers that's really fun. Like, that's really fun. Like, finding those little things just little things. But yeah, and then we kind of got into the no prep stuff because as a business, we felt like the no prep guys didn't really have like a shop that kind of catered to what they needed. And I didn't feel like anybody was giving those guys the customer service that they needed to, like, because most everybody does no prep, not everybody, but a large majority was doing it on their own. Like, they're building their own car, they're, all that stuff. And like, that was me 10 years ago in my garage with a MIG welder, not knowing what the heck to do. So that's one of the reasons we put out so many tech videos, is to try to help people. You know what I mean? Like, I know what it's like to get into this and spend the money in the wrong places and be like, someone tell you that you're an idiot because you bought this and you should have bought that. Like, we wanted to try to fix that. So, innovative thing that we done to our car, I guess we were stupid and we chose a 4-door nitrous car. I don't know if that's just dumb, but
I mean, that's what I was going to say. It's a 4-door.
yeah. It's, I tell myself that the money that we lose because it doesn't win all the time, we make up in t-shirt sales, but that's starting to not be as appealing. Yeah.
Oh, Charlie Brown gets down.
But,
Oh yeah.
It runs good for what it is, and yeah, all these guys are doing. Everybody's just pushing each other, and we didn't get to race as much as we wanted this year, but like, racing, I've never got to line up against Ryan, never got to line up against Joey, and man, I would love to, you know what I mean, like, because you want to race all the guys that are really good. Like, that's what drives me. Like, I want to race the best. Like, I don't want to race, like, and I'm sure you guys will agree, like, nothing against, some of the people that do this, but like, it's really fun when you feel like you're lined up with someone that's, that you both have cars that are at the top, and like, that's addicting, going out there and get, like, when we first put our car together, I'm like, man, I really want to race all these guys. It seems fun. And I'm sure you guys are the same. Like, you just want to race the best. That's it. So.
There's definitely races out there when you get to take, that person out. You've already feel like you've won your event for the day. You've already gotten that sense of accomplishment. And now the rest of you are just kind of going through the motions. And if you end up with an overall win, fantastic. But you got your one great race out and you're good,
Yeah.
Like, a lot of us hit that too.
That is the thing I miss about the radial stuff. So we raced Ultra Street 2 years ago. And like, it's a 440 to 460 class typically. So like, but you would go to a race and number one qualifier would be like a 447. And then number 16 would be like a 459. You know what I mean? So like, the gap is so tight. So every time you go up to the tree, dude, you better be 20 or better, because they're all drivers. So like, every round is like stressful, right? Like, you're like, I gotta chop this tree down. The tune-up's gotta be right. Like, and it's fun to race like that. But then, like, in no prep, like, no offense, I'm sure you guys kind of feel the same. Like, you have rounds where you're like, I just can't screw this up. Like, it's like almost more stressful because you're like, if I screw this up, I'm an idiot. I don't know if anybody else feels like that, but it's different to not have to, not be at the top of your game the whole time. So.
Somebody asked Charlie Brown back half.
Yeah, he is. He's just a back half car. So it's still stock style front suspension, and it's actually cool. quite a bit of a G body left, probably more than what people would think you would have when you own a chassis shop, but it doesn't pay to work on your own cars. So it's like not near as trick as what it's really frustrating when you look around your shop, you see the cars that you build, and you're like, dude, these are so sick. And you look at your car, you're like, this thing's a pile.
Well, I think you're talking about mistakes, which was leading me into my next question for everybody. What's been your most costly mistake, but also your most valuable? It's kind of a shitty question, but
That's a hard one.
also, though,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes the shittiest stuff that happens is the greatest thing that we learn from.
Nitrous small block.
Never going back.
That's fair. I was just to say nitrous in general. Yeah, we had a turbo car before. This was way easier.
Not going turbo soon enough.
Yeah, definitely. Boost is definitely the way to go in a lot of cases. I know the crew and I, we were having a discussion the other day going to War in the Woods, the last one, and we're discussing, competitive nitrous combos out there. And it just seems like they're kind of starting to be a dying breed. Especially in our world right now, just everything is boosted in some form or fashion. And then lo and behold, we end up running Jeff Thomas, nitrous big block car in the finals. Made it all the way there. But it just seems like, nitrous is definitely one of those things that's kind of fallen off anymore.
That's because it's so hard. You got to be smart. You got to be on your tune-ups and the engine tune-up, and it's just so much harder. Turbos are just, boost is so much easier to mess up with or tune and stuff like that.
Say the boosted
But-
stuff is definitely easier on parts.
Yeah. But maybe Jason just likes a challenge, he don't want the easy route. That way when he wins, he's like, see, I did it the hard way.
Yeah, with the 4-door and nitrous. Like, you should not.
Yeah.
That's a lot to overcome.
There is not much cooler than a nitrous car with the flames lit or the candles lit.
Right.
That's something, my car will never be that way. But that is a missing ingredient in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're cool, man. Like,
Speaking of Jeff
they're
Thomas,
really cool.
yeah.
But they are, like, to your point, like, Ryan, they're like, we've raced both. Like, it's really interesting the amount of people that don't follow, like, people don't follow you forever, so a lot, like, we have a whole group of people that follow us now because of the no prep stuff. And, like, there's people that think we hate turbo cars or something. It's like, dude, I've had more turbo cars than I have had nitrous cars. Like, this is just a bad financial decision. But the reason we have a nitrous car is because, so Charlie's owned by 3 people. So Brad and I own part of it, and then Heath, that we've raced with on and off for a few years, he owns part of it also. And Heath is the nitrous guy. Like, he loves it. Like, like it. The motor that's in it's really nice. Like, it's a 750 cubic inch deal. Like, I mean, it's a nice piece. But like, to make the power that we make with a turbo combo I'm gonna say it'd be half the cost. You know what I mean? Like, it's stupid. And like, we spray it hard. I mean, it's got 3,300 pound per hour in it right now. And then, we're trying to lock it and do all this stuff, and the car's not light. It weighs 3,100 pounds. So there's a lot that's going against it, but I don't know. I think we're going to stay another year with the nitrous, just because it's, to your guys' point, I've tried to think of, there's not that many competitive nitrous cars, especially on like a fast front side, like a good track front side. I don't know hardly any, like, you get to Brown County or something that's, you guys are flying at Brown County. It's crazy how fast you're going. But you get something that's a little, sorry, that's my dog. you get something that's pretty smooth, I think it's pretty tough to compete, right now. Even with everything that we have, it's still tough.
I got a question for Casey Max. What sound do you think a koala makes?
No clue. I didn't even know that made sounds.
I thought that was like an inside joke, like I was getting ready to get schooled on something.
Oh man, stump the panel.
All right, anybody else know? I don't know.
No
I gotta go to
idea.
Google.
All right.
So who can describe it in text?
I got a question for Ryan. Have you liked the switch from the turbos to the Pro Charger deal?
I'm digging it. It's cool not to have to worry about the boost curve at all. And it's all about the RPM curve. I don't know if you guys got to see the live feed from last weekend, but we were on a struggle bus for the first three passes we made. We didn't put a loose enough stator in the car, and I kept the tight one in it, and we were pulling it down off of the stall point and bogging the car out, going like 160, 60 foots. But then it would come alive and would do something kind of cool out the back door. But that's like been the only downside to it so far. And I just needed to clean up the tune-up right there and learn the balance of fuel and timing at that moment. But let's see.
I think that's about the greatest comment I've ever heard about somebody going fast.
I think I just cleaned the bugs off from the front end on that race last weekend. But no, it's I've really enjoyed the switch so far.
I guess that's what sound a koala makes.
Okay.
That's a koala bear.
Well then.
The more you
No
know.
more questions, please.
But no, I've enjoyed the switch. We're learning every weekend. We go out with it, and it just so happened to be when we maxed out the 121 right off the bat. Went to Brown County with it. It just happened to be a great combination, and where the chassis was set, it was happy, and we just kept all the turbo chassis settings, and it flew. It went hauling. It would just been kind of sticking around that same tune-up and setup, moving around. Yeah, the first pass we're about half throttle, and then once we got to full throttle, the thing was a monster. So,
Joey, you gonna hit more big races next year?
Maybe not. I obviously, as anybody has seen this year, I chose not to travel as far. Stuck around my 5 or 6 hour radius, and honestly, there was a lot of races around me, and I just focused more on. I have a young kid; he's only 7 months old now, but yeah, I just focused on hanging around with the kids and stuff a lot more this year, and they only grow up once, so racing's probably always going to be here, I hope, and I just didn't travel as much. It's hard to. I build elevators during the week and obviously have a normal paying job and career. And so it's hard to come home from work at the end of the week, load your stuff up and leave the family. The kids don't like riding in the truck, more than 5 or 6 hours. We have to stop for potty breaks and crying and nonstop crying and stuff like that. So it's a lot of stress, a lot of, anxiety to travel with kids. And so this year I definitely didn't choose to travel as far. I feel like in the past I've proven, I travel places, I've been as far as, Texas, bottom of Texas, Houston, all the way over to Jason's races at Cincy Street night. And shoot, I've been to Vegas for Street Outlaws, and I feel like I've proven, where I go, I do well, not always win, but, I still do well. And this year I just decided I wasn't going to travel as far, and people get mad at me for that. They feel like I pick and choose races. No, I mean, you guys are more than welcome to travel where I'm at. I did it, not saying you guys as people on the panel, you guys, as in the haters on the internet, asking why I won't go to such and such or whatever and stuff like that. I've been to War in the Woods. I've won the event before. That track is a lot better, I will say. However, it's also a far drive. So, I get comments all the time about, hey, why don't you go here? Why don't you go there? And it's more so that I want to be with my kids. And, I have 3 kids. So it's not just one kid that cries. There's 3 of them that cry when you leave. And it's a lot. It's very stressful on my wife and stuff like that. So I do feel as they get older, they can come racing more, and then I will travel as far again. But in the meantime, I don't see myself traveling as far, especially when there are local races that pay just as much and my kids can come watch. I can leave on a Saturday and be back on a Saturday and then still have a weekend to do things, So that's just my opinion. I race for myself and I'm not here to make anybody happy but me and my family. And it kind of is what it is. I mean, sure, do the people on the internet not like that, but I don't know, is what it is.
Well, as somebody with adult kids, I'll tell you in 15 minutes they'll be adults. So enjoy them.
Yep.
I've got one driving. So,
yeah.
Oh, that happened.
Well,
so maybe when I get to that point, then I'll be traveling as far because the kid can drive the truck too.
It's pretty cool being crew chief instead of driver. It is pretty neat.
I look forward to it for sure.
Jasper
I just had that
Ryan.
same conversation with my wife, Joey, about you can probably hear my little boys talking, but we have 3, you know what I mean? And like, he's 2 and he loves race cars more than anybody. And, that was part of the reasons of even stepping away from promoting, like I was at the racetrack, not racing our own car, but like my little boy just wanted to see the race cars. And there was people that were upset that wanted to talk to me. And like, I got to talk to these upset people when the coolest kid in the world to me just wants to watch race cars with dad, Like,
oh yeah.
That's a hard, like, I know like our conversation is supposed to be how hard this stuff is. And that's why it is hard, is because everyone that's in this thing, we all know what it takes to do it. It takes 100% dedication. So like, like my wife, and I'm sure all your guys' significant others are awesome, or we wouldn't do this, right? We would already be divorced, right? Most people, the average wife could never handle this. That's not talked about enough. Like my wife, I'm sure the same with your guys, is like, they want you to win. They want to win with you. And there has to be something wrong with them to want that as bad as you do. You know what I mean? But like, our wives choose that. Our kids don't, and like, that's been a hard thing to me, to be real. Is like, I wanted to race more this year, but like, man, to your point, when I leave, there's 3 of them screaming, and like, what did I sacrifice that time for? Like, we're only going to get it once. And like, my dad's 80 and he still drives his race car. Like, he still races. So I'm like, man, I'm 34. Like, I have a long time that I can race, but my kids are only this size for so long. Like, do I want to keep dedicating as much to this as I am? That's kind of a constant question.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The haters are always going to be out there.
Find my boy some pizza yesterday. I hope you did. Where was it? Oh, Ryan, Jasper's asking about, are you hurting parts with the new setup? Or how's that going?
No, we're 48 or 49 passes in with no issues.
Nice. Where was it? Somebody was asking, John, you plan on going after the stock bottom end record in 24?
Stock bottom end, so far I still own by, I think, 100. On both ends.
Besides a fuel altered, I mean, how fair is that?
Man, oh man, I'm hoping somebody gets it because I think we can go 30s with a junkyard motor in that car. So I raced that thing 250 pounds heavier than what I can race it now. And we learned a lot in converter tech in the last 4 years. So, yeah, I don't really want to do it, but it's a worthy challenge. I think we can go 430s and 680s with a junkyard motor in that car.
I know. I
And,
was surprised with mine last year or 2
My
years
man.
ago. I was shocked how fast we could go with them now.
They're amazing. They're amazingly tough for what the parts are from. It blows me away. But yeah, stock block record I would like to take back. It's there for the taking. I don't think Dylan Cato that has it right now, I don't think they're done. I think that car probably should go 4.0s. I think we can go 4.0s, 390s with a Tahoe block. It's going to take a lot of things to line up and a lot of boost. But I put more map sensor in the car and just waiting for a few last pieces to come together. And yeah, I'm going to punch that thing in the face. We're going to treat it like a nitrous car up front. So that is on the goal list, but also added some flexibility to the chassis. So we're going to try some tree side no prep stuff with that same car next year as well. So added some 4-link adjustability, and yeah, we got some new tricks up the sleeve.
Let's see here. In the next 2 years, what is no prep small tire going to look like? Well, at this rate, it's going to look like. I hope that changes. And I'm trying to make this more informative than a bash session or whatever. Because I really think people do have this misconception that the people who do well are gifted fast cars or lots of money and resources. I mean, all you guys got day jobs, right? I mean, work lots of hours. And when you do win, typically that goes right back into the race program to pay you back for money you've already spent of your family's money, while your kids are eating ramen noodles for a couple weeks.
Yeah, you're trying to lose less. Pretty much.
Yeah. Or investment in losing less in the future.
It seems like right now the people calling for rules, they are, and I don't even say that I don't totally agree, but or that I don't agree on a small level, but a lot of the whining for rules is wishing things to go back to the ETs that people were running like 5 years ago. And regardless what you put in place for a chassis rule, stock style suspension, steel doors, I don't care if it's got all factory glass in it, if it's got a back seat, it's not that much of a limitation as much as testing and knowledge and component selection, not even having the biggest, shiniest billetest everything. But, you take a pretty, relatively straightforward cars and you put somebody in it and make 100 passes in it, they're going to be faster than the guy that tried 5 passes, got beat, and went to the internet and cried for more rules.
Yeah.
I
I think that people don't realize the amount of laps the laps that people put on cars. Like it, people just don't get it. Like, if you want to be good at this, you should be at every test and tune your local track has to offer,
Absolutely.
And putting a car in the beams, like it's no different than a dude that's good at basketball. He picks up a basketball every day. And the guy that maybe is naturally gifted at it picks it up every once in a while and can still hang. But that dude that picks it up every day is going to be better. And I think that is my frustration with race cars is like there is a money aspect of it. Like, it sucks. It's really expensive. Let's just shelf that. We all know that. But a lot of times, like all you guys, I'll speak to the three of you. You guys are incredible at putting a race car down the track, and incredible. You're all really good at it. But a lot of times that gets undershadowed because what we do is expensive, right? Like you could give the three of you the same Fox Body Mustang,
I don't know why
to
somebody's in
compete
my driveway. I'll be right back.
with a stock, a small block turbo car, and you're going to do it. You know what I mean? Like you're still going to end up in the winner's circle. And I think that people think the rules will be their savior, and that's not true. Do you guys remember DXP Street? You know anything
The
about that?
235 class.
I don't.
No, so what it was so like 2 years ago, I guess, at Ducks races, all this stuff is all related. Like radial stuff went through the same cycle, just different, right? Like it's just a different tire. So their complaint was like, the average guy has nowhere to compete. So Duck put a class together. They called it DXP Street, which was basically stock suspended car, stock floor pans, could only be mini tubbed, I think, factory firewall. It's basically Fox Body Mustang class, right? And then it's got to be a small block with a carburetor and a NOS cheater plate. So like the old school plate that Ryan's talking about him blowing up his nitro small block with. That plate. And it can only have.
It was actually a Top Shot, believe it or not.
Oh, my bad. With like I think it had a dash 4 was the biggest feed line that you could have, and then you had to run on the ET Street SS, that's the tire for Ultra Street, right? So Duck, I think in the beginning he said it was only going to be a 550 class, and then he's like, they'll only go 530s, and then he was like, man, nobody's ever going to go 490s. Well, my buddy that's a hillbilly that you guys probably don't know, he's run the different circles. His name's Martin Conley. Martin's been drag racing for 20 years, and he had access to every part of – he's a hoarder. So he had a really gangster small block Ford Bischoff motor and a plate kit at his house. You know what I mean? Like he had all the pieces, and they went 490s the first race. But – they went 490s the first race because of the experience that they brought with them. And, like, that's the thing, dude. You can put as much rules as you want on any of this stuff, and people with the experience and people with the will, they're going to win, man. You can't change the amount that someone's willing to sacrifice. Like, Martin lived in a single-wide trailer, him and his wife did, and he works at UPS, and he raced X275 5 years ago and went toe-to-toe with the Brooders with the nitrous car. Like on paper he made like $30,000 a year, but like he did it because he sacrificed more than everyone else, like you can't control that.
No, and everybody's gripe is the chassis rules. Everybody's got a chassis car. Well, at the end of the day, if you put in place, chassis rules, all you're going to have is a Mustang race then. I mean, you talk about older cars, even like first, second gens, whatever, you have to nearly have a back half car to even come close to competing with a Fox Body Mustang, at all. So that's all they're going to come down to is they're going to just lose nearly 70% of their car count if you put in place, chassis rules or whatever, stuff like that. Do I feel like some cars are outclassed more than a certain blue Fox Body? Yeah, but you just got to work harder and get faster and, try different things and quit crying about the rules just to tailor to your one race car, stuff like that. And I hope small tire rules will continue to just be a tire size limit, whether it's 28s or 29s, and people will either drop down to a different class, drop up to a faster class or whatever, and it'll just play on. But that's just my opinion.
Well, so on that note, let's say we go back 2 or 3 years when the majority of the people were doing X275 rules for no prep. Do you guys feel like you would be at the same place you are now if those rules were put in place?
I mean, I feel like I'd be in the same place because I have the same exact car, but you know,
Yeah,
it is
Joey
what it
wouldn't have to
is.
make any changes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd just pick up the
Single.
TIG torch
For being
and make
technical,
some passes.
turbo.
Otherwise, no. I feel like technology has greatly improved small tire class racing because, technology has gained us different sensors and, ride height sensors they didn't have back in the day, or traction control, different types of traction control, and stuff like that. I feel like has different tire technology. They're coming out with new tire compounds and stuff. So just overall, everything with parts and people and technology is what makes classes get faster and faster, stuff like that. What do you guys think? You're sitting there not talking.
I mean, I think some of these new tires coming out, I'm curious to see how much they actually improve or slow down the field. I mean, I've gotten a touch about every one of the new tires out, and I'm staying with the stuff we've been using for years. I don't know if they're going to be that big of a game changer. I think they've got some drawbacks to them. But I mean, it's just that experimental part. You put a soft compound tire out there, especially on like a 85-degree day on a really coarse surface. I think we're just going to ball the rubber right off of it, and we're going to start losing traction down track.
They're going to make a 3055 SS. Can they add extra stiff?
Yeah, they're called tubes, John.
Yeah, well, double tube them. Let's go.
I know that's where I'm at. I'm trying to keep tubes alive more than 20 passes. It seems like.
We need a pro bracket that acts more like a slick.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Or a liner wheel or something.
Yeah.
I think everybody should run the pro brackets. It's a great tire. That would. Well, I mean,
I tried that. It didn't work out very well for me.
Right. Well, I think the rule part of it too, like if you look at, I always look at radial racing because I kind of have my toes in both of it, and like if you want rule sets, just go radial. Look at the radial rule sets. Like, but we just don't have enough cars for that because there's too many events. So like when Duck does his stuff, you're gonna get there's like 5 classes on property. Well, that's the only thing that's happening that weekend is that race, right? So everybody has to go there. Well, you got limited 235, which is like a 490 to 530 class. Then you have Ultra Street, which is a 440 to 460 class. Then you got X, which is 14 to 430. And then you got Pro 275 and LDR that's mixed in at the bottom. Well, man, they've already done the hard work for us. They've already figured out all the combos, that the potential of them, the weights, everything. It's all there. But I don't think that people, there would just be too much of a change now, like, because when the guy built his Fox Buddy Mustang or his car he built, he wasn't thinking about the rules. So now he has to change all these things to be able to fit in whatever class that they come up with. I don't know if that's a great decision. I don't know.
No, because it's so much easier just to stay home and cry about it. That's
rules add cost. Look at NASCAR or Pro Stock or anything else. The more rules you add, the more expensive it is to get to the top.
Well, I think the other thing is everybody posts where they're going. So if you feel like you can't beat, for instance, one of these guys on this panel, and there's 37 no prep races, I guarantee you there's a shitty enough one for you to go do well at. I'm just keep it real. There's 37 no prep races. You can probably find one that you can go and dominate in or do well in. And everybody posts. So just follow these guys and see where they're going, and then you cannot go there.
The meme with all the geese.
Route.
You got a goose looking for ducks.
I know it's kind of a little smart ass about it, but but that is honestly a good strategy if you're not there yet, because this is a progressive sport. So if you're not there yet, don't go to perhaps a bigger event where the big dogs are, if you know you don't have a chance and you're going to cry about it instead of taking it as an opportunity to learn. I mean, I've approached and talked to all these guys, and they probably don't tell me everything, but anything I've asked about or whatever, they've all pretty much been an open book about. Joey,
I mean, the biggest thing of some of these
a
racers
little
is
harder to get info out of Joey about 2-3 years ago, but I hear that's changed a little bit now.
Hey, I told you some secrets I had. Now everybody's going to have air shocks on the front next thing you know.
Yep. Rules drive up cost. I agree.
Yep.
And
I really like the capped racing that like nobody likes the ET caps, but like that's all you're doing when you're adding rules. You're trying to reach an ET cap anyway.
Yep.
So, like I love what they do in tech. Like I love that little gangsters class. I think that's the perfect way to do it because it just cuts out all the crap. Like let's just run on a tire, steel roof and quarter. This is how fast you can go. If you reach this ET level, move up. You know, like I think that's the best way to do it. But then you got the people that are like, well, I don't want to index race. Well, dude, we're all index racing to a degree when you're putting rules on the class. It's no different.
Yep, I agree. The biggest thing seems like people are calling for minimum weights, and between having to tech every car every single pass, you know, it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take more manpower, and a lot of these tracks don't have scales.
right.
So like that's one thing. The index thing I think is the easiest equalizer. If you're going to do, say, quote unquote, a small tire junior or OG type class, put a 530 or 550 cap on it. And if you know you're not comfortable slowing the car down that far, don't run the junior class, run the big boy class. But there are people that, like my son, I don't want to put him in with the Sharks right now. We can make the car go fast enough to at least be in touch, but he's not ready for that. So if there was an index, I would put him in the index class.
just ban tall people and everyone from Nebraska.
So one of the memes was ban everybody named Joey.
Oh, Jesus.
How to make it ban all the ugly cars.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, that was good.
Hey, well, you guys saved money for paint for other things. So, I mean, that's also, a conversation. Just
Don't say that.
clearly
I
where it
painted my
mattered.
car. I tried.
My
I spray
father-in-law
painted
said-
mine.
My father-in-law always said, paint don't pull. So tractor saying, paint don't pull.
Yeah. Nope, I ain't winning any car shows, that's for sure.
I don't know. I may start doing some high vis orange or green on the front of my car, make it a little easier to see.
I got some right here.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. So, what about where did it go? I don't know. What are you guys' feelings about this instead of a junior class now that 26s? I mean, I feel like it's going to be small tire on a different size tire.
It will be.
Eventually, it
we all know
won't take
better.
long for people who dominate to dominate.
Nope.
Yeah.
The data is out there already. Prep side racing, but my race car on a 26 Pro bracket went 430s in 2018. Versus, it went 4.0s on a 28, but it went 430s on only like the 10th pass on a 2610 Pro bracket. So like it's not like, oh, let's slow these race cars down to, a 480, and it's not that big of a deal. Contact patch is different, but it's not that different.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's
a trap.
I feel like it's a shell game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we can do this 26 class and get everybody excited, and then they'll come to our race a little bit here and there for a little while. but it's going to be the same. Everything hard tire. Look at hard tire now. I mean, these guys are flying on hard tire cars.
Yeah, you
Wheelies
better-
through the stripe.
yeah, you
Yeah.
better be ready for some 580s and 570s for hard tire anymore.
My goodness. And I mean, right now there's probably like 5 people in the country who are like light years ahead of everybody else. So, I mean, changing the tire is not going to matter. Changing chassis is not going to matter. I think living in reality is going to, people start living in reality and listen to people like you guys who are saying, you know, it's a progressive thing over time, refining the same vehicle over time, and learning and trying stuff and constantly trying stuff. I know constantly collecting data are my biggest takeaways from this. But am I wrong about any of that?
That's it.
I mean, these guys, the Prestons, I know that they're at every track in Kentucky Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so that they can be ready to race Friday and Saturday, for instance. And I love you guys, but I don't know why you wouldn't come on my live feed.
And I mean, and those guys are working. They try something new every time. I mean, I think every time I talk to them, they have tried something. They've improved somewhere on their program, and they're trying to replicate it on race day. And some days it pays off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you take those guys, for example, like before, so they raced the weekend before Turkey Bash, then they raced Turkey Bash, and then they were at South Georgia for a week running the radial stuff. They came straight back, went to the race that you guys were at together, Jeff Thomas's deal, and then they're racing again this weekend. So, like, dude, that's a lot of laps just within, you know, and I think the thing about the radial stuff that I see some of these guys missing is it's easier. Yeah, you do.
Yet.
You have been like a bit of a curse for him, really.
Only twice. 2 times we didn't even get to race.
Oh, that's yeah. But I don't know, man. It's hard. It's hard to beat people with laps, you know, and I think people forget that, dude. Like, laps is what wins this stuff. Laps. And on the radial side of things, I think it's what people miss is how to make a car go fast and then slow it down a bit for what you're trying to do with it. Like, that's what benefits those guys is, like, they're good radial racers. Well, they take what they know to push in a combo to every bit that it can be pushed, and then you're backing it down to go a little bit slower. Like, man, that's a huge advantage. Where a lot of people, if you run on a slick all the time and you're running on these bad surfaces, man, you really don't even know the potential of your combo. You don't even know how fast it actually could go.
Wait, there's more?
Hey, at least I'm 1-1 with Isaac.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, Nick, paying back 3 or 4 spots.
Shoot, I did that. I paid you first round at my event.
Yeah, I kind of like what you had going on there. That was a cool concept.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more races do that.
Yeah, I mean, it gets expensive, obviously, but that's what you have sponsors for, right? That's what you work hard when you promote a race to gain sponsors and, you know, use stuff, you know, their product or money or whatever and help pay out to the racers. I mean, that's kind of what was all behind. Obviously, if no one knows what we're talking about, you know, I promote races also, as with Jason, you know, and that's a hard thing just besides, you know, your racing program is being ready for race events and stuff like that and putting on races. But our small tire race at my local track, I paid it was a $200 entry. I paid $100 every time you won a round, and consecutively up to after first round, you got split into 2 ladders. So the losers bracket, winners bracket, whatever you want to call them. And I paid up to $3,000 you know, up and up and up and then the winner of each ladder raced each other for $4,000. So overall, I think I paid out like 12 grand in that small tire class, but I heard from all sorts of racers, hey, I won more than I even bought in. I won more money than I ever have, or I've never won money before, and I lost first round but still won my second round, you know. And I do feel like that's still a fun race to go to, because in the end, I think you could win like 6 or 7 grand if you won every race, maybe, or somewhere around there. And overall, we had a really positive, you know, showing for it. There was a lot of cars, obviously, and for our market, as I would say, and overall did good. You know, I hope to see more events copy me in the future, and wouldn't be the first time, wouldn't be the last time, but I think it is good for racing, because then this whole podcast is about how to improve our small tire class racing, and it gave those slower people that want their own class a chance at winning money, which is kind of the whole reason why we go racing, I guess, and a little bit of fun. But either way, it gives those people that are slower, that don't have a chance at even making it to the semis or finals, or even out of first round, second round, a chance at winning some money. So maybe more promoters will try that in the future. I hope so, because I think the events are cool too. You know, a caliber car as such of ours on this podcast, I feel like all of us would travel to a race like that, you know, and stuff like that. Yes, I will say getting sponsors is really hard. No one wants to give out their hard-earned money for a small ROI, you know, but that's the job of a promoter, is, you know, promoting your event to get return on their investment as a company that gives you money. But I'm just rambling on here, but I really dislike events that advertise X amount of payout based on 400 cars. So if you're listening and you're one of those people, don't do that. Don't do that.
Where's the cash on top, at least?
Oh my God. Like, all of us can do math. Trust me. When you're paying out 20 grand, but only putting in $400, you're just stealing from the racers.
I mean, I know that's one of the first things I look for is races that I know is going to have money on top, because if the car count isn't there, I want to know that if I have the opportunity of winning, we're going to be able to pay for those last 3 losses I had to hopefully continue racing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I feel like car count has just been down overall throughout the country this whole year. And so you can never guarantee 10, 20, 30, 40 cars are going to show up, because what if the weather's shitty? And
No
then
one travels.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I didn't travel much this year, no matter if the weather was good or not, but I mean, it is what it is.
40% chance of rain, you're going to have half the cars not show up.
Yeah.
Just
So then you're
because-
racing for $1,000.
Yep.
And these cars, I'm not going to lie, these cars are expensive, no matter if you're winning or losing. So
You don't
that
break
plays a
anything.
factor.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
no. It is. It's tough to get money from sponsors, and again, that goes back to this like 37 races every weekend.
That is very true.
Does go out. Like, I'm not one that romances people. I'm just like, yeah, we have a pretty good race, and we always have fun, and you know, we can get you some good exposure. We get you good ROI. But then you got people who would just lie through their teeth, promise the moon, and I'm not that guy. We got lucky and had a really good race this year. I didn't have any of the expectations for it to be what it turned out to be, but I mean, we just got lucky this year. But you know, some of these guys will sell the moon and they'll get all the sponsor money, and then they'll have 2 cars show up, and that ruins it for everybody else also.
Yeah, and half of it is the market is just so flooded. 5 years ago, there was a quarter the amount of no prep races each weekend, and now there's, like you said, just so many. And I mean, half of that was why I didn't travel either. There's plenty around me to go to. I mean, I don't need to drive 20 hours to go win $5,000 when I can win 3 hours down the road. But
Yeah. Well,
That guy.
the sponsor, like, we get, like, because we're a race car business, man. Like, the amount of people that message our shop that want sponsor money for whatever their event is unreal. Like, it's crazy, dude. Like, people I've never talked to in my life, like, just the random messages that, like, I guess you just think we got money growing on trees over there. So, like, bro, I got a 4-door nitrous car. I don't have any money to sponsor your
Not
event.
yet.
You know what I mean?
yeah, that is your sponsorship, that race car.
Yeah, but what happens is there is so many people that are trying to put on these races that it does water down the good promoter. That, like, maybe there is a guy that I don't know that I would like to work with because there's some, you know, we're not in that side of the country or whatever, but he's gonna automatically get the no just because there's so many people asking. You know, like that's one of the reasons we didn't have any sponsors with Cincy Street Nights for the last 2 years because I didn't feel like dealing with it. We just put gate money on top. That's how we did it. And, you know, that worked good. You know, we were like decent at promoting an event. We always had around 2,000 spectators or better. So, like, that helped put on the event without having to deal with sponsors. But I think a lot of it, man, is like, I think really the solution is less events, and that would fix a lot. I mean,
yeah.
Quantity.
Yeah. And like we talked earlier, those less quality events, the slower cars are going to go to, when the more high quality events, the faster cars are going to go to, and they don't have to race them. So then there goes your car count.
Yeah, Landon. But honestly, as somebody who's been doing races for 7 years, like you go into those small areas, like we used to go to Marion, and there's like that initial excitement, but after a couple races, that kind of stuff kind of dies down, man. You know, with the local companies, it gets tough.
Yeah.
I hope it ain't the case for you, but I just speaking from experience.
Yeah, a lot of my sponsors for the events that I put on are either companies I've worked with personally, even though I don't like mixing my personal race program with the events, or, you know, local companies such as Ryan sponsored one of my events before, you know, and just local companies that I've had one-on-one with, and they just help you out just because, not because they're looking for an ROI or anything like that. But it's just all about your relationship. I feel like you just can't go to some company such as XYZ and say, "Hey, can I get $500?" You know, it helps when you have worked with them and have built a relationship prior to that.
Which, Landon, you may have that in your area. Here's a good question. Since you big dogs are here, what's the ideal buy-in for small tire?
$200
plus money on top.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, last weekend we went to Landon's race, and you know with Fatheads, and they had 10,000 plus $100 entry, and that was the money on top. So I mean, it was very affordable for all the races to go to, and we had 71 cars.
Yeah.
And it was on a surface that everybody looked at and were like, you know, this is going to get pretty quick. So I mean, it wasn't even. I don't think that, you know, people showed up thinking they're going to be competitive on a slicker surface. I think that it was an attractive race in the middle of the country that worked out pretty well in that situation. But yeah, I mean, I think 200, 250 is pretty fair.
Yep, I agree.
You know, or if you're targeting more local people, $150 I think is pretty good. And you know, or if we're paying back per round, I think that everybody feels accomplished if they are winning money going rounds, being paid by the round. I think that's great. I think everybody feels accomplished doing that. I would have been tickled pink when I was in my 20s doing that.
I think you said
Yeah.
something there, though, Ryan, that was really good. You said when you're in your 20s doing that. And I think, like, we do have a lot of newer people that are coming into this, which is so awesome. But like now I'm 34, like you guys are mid 30s, or like we've done a little bit of life, and like once you've done a little bit of life, you have you're probably a little more successful in your personal life. You can afford to put a little bit more money towards a race car, like all that stuff, and you have all those years of experience. And I think what I see with younger racers is like they are getting into it in their 20s, which is awesome. But if they don't have a dad or a family behind them to support their racing, like you got to figure that out. You know what I mean? Like it takes a while to get to that level. It just does.
So everybody's
For
looking
sure.
pay back per round. But so, I mean, the trade-off is then, though, if you're paying per round, whoever the winner is going to get less money. I mean, you got to be.
Yeah, but
upfront.
you're winning money on the road to the finals also, which is how
Right.
my
No,
scenario worked.
I get it. I'm just. Let's be.
It's just not as much. Yeah.
Because somebody on here today is cheerleading this, but you know what happens in a week when everybody else is like, okay, it's a great idea, we'll start doing it, and then they win a race and they're like, oh, this is a bullshit. What paying all these people back for? I could have got all the money.
Gonna say
Yeah.
the internet fires back up.
You're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
In Joey's situation, what was it? The winner won 7,000, and you
Something
paid out
like
12,000
that.
total?
Yeah. Yeah. Because
that's-
obviously the $200 entry went into that pot,
I mean, that's basically 70-30, and that's not a bad or far off from a common split in the finals, anyways.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I agree.
So the 7,000. I'm trying to get a full picture here. The 7,000 was guaranteed.
No, well, all of it was guaranteed. I guaranteed to pay $100 every round win up to the semis. I believe I paid $1,500 per racer, and then I paid $2,000 and then $3,000, and that was 2 ladders because you had a winner's ladder and a loser's ladder. So there was a lot of opportunity to even win $1,500 if you made it to the semis in your respective ladder, and that was obviously for 4 cars, and then that was for 2 cars, and then each ladder was 2 cars, and then the finals, and then the finals of each. So there was a lot of opportunity to win a lot of money.
How many cars did you have?
I had 28.
Oh, yes.
But, like Ryan's come to my events before, and it is flat out, I'm scared of who's showing up. I mean, it is my local track. So, I mean, I go there all the time, and it was just horrible business to even race in it. And then there were one race that I decided, hey, I'm just going to sit out. I think it was the one that I grudge race boosted at. We had like 45 cars or something. And then, it just dwindled down, and we were starting to struggle to get car count because there were some fast cars, and, it comes down to, hey, I don't even want to show up and race, and so this boosted our car count tremendously, I would say, going to this format. Now, obviously, I've only done this format 1 race, but I feel like it had a very positive impact on our area.
I can get with it. I can dig it. Tony McKinney and I are going to do a race this year. It's kind of got a similar concept, but doesn't pay back as far. But maybe we ought to adapt some of this a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I just looked at it like, how can we get more car count? How can we cater to these guys that show up knowing they're not going to win without making a index class for them. And this is how Sean and I adopted it. So
Well, that's kind of
you're everybody's thinking about what I think that is missed in translation a lot is like everybody thinks that like you guys are really good at what you do. Like they think like you just automatically want everybody to get to your level, but you're clearly not thinking of that. You're just like, man, how can we make this sport better? And I think that's the heart of a lot of people that are in it. Like I think people have differences of opinion, right? But like we're all in this together. Like we're all in this same bowl, and we want it to be as best as we can. You know, like back to the kid thing. Like I want it. If my son or my daughter wants to race, like I want it to be here for them. You know what I mean? I'm sure you guys all feel the same. You know, so like we're trying to think about how to do it, how to do it better. It just we miss it sometimes or whatever, but everybody's trying.
oh, for sure.
Maybe
and
not.
I agree with that, Jason. It's also risk versus reward, and when back to $20,000 versus $80,000 car.
Back when the dollar was worth $1 too.
When you're trying
And
to-
that's another thing. It's stuff is so much more expensive nowadays. You know, diesel, car parts. It's so much harder for the average person to now spend all that on their race car and then spend $500-600 to go travel, plus the buy-ins, plus hotel. You know, it all adds up.
So winner take all is not good for the sport, which so I mean people used to kind of go back a little bit, but probably a handful of years ago, I remember it was like winner takes all is the only way to do it. And then
Yeah, no, I usually always try to split with somebody.
probably like 2 or 3 years ago, it seemed like it got more popular for racers to want to split.
Yeah, because anything can happen. You might go out there in red light. You never know.
Yeah.
Break a drive shaft, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think like 5-6 years ago, I think when I was racing a bunch of the radial tree side stuff, it almost seemed like, and maybe it was tongue in cheek, but almost seemed like if you were going to split, you kept it hush hush. Like it wasn't something that everybody wanted the rest of the people to know. It's like, yeah, he
because
won.
it's
Yeah,
frowned upon or something.
yeah, it almost felt that way. And
Huh.
just like, you know what? I'm going to go 70-30 at least, because it just feels like bad karma. If you don't offer that, you're going to have something dumb happen to you and you're going to go home empty.
It's possible.
Been on that side.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like
You
when
forget
me and
about it.
Ryan go racing, if we meet up, you know, second, third, whatever round, we've kind of agreed that if the other driver wins the race, the either of us who lost would get $1,000, as long as the money's right. But yeah, that's usually me and Ryan have done that several times in the past. And because we know like one of us is going to the finals and likely winning, but it helps the other guy out when we have to race the finals before the finals, you know?
Right.
Yep.
I do think the mentality changed though. Like Heath that races with Brad and I, he's like an OG grudge racer. Like that's what he used to do. So like he just loves the gamble, man. Like every time the car goes down the track, he likes to gamble. Like that's what he wants to do. So he was out of racing for like maybe 4 years. He took a break, and then we got Charlie back. We got Charlie out, and like all these people were always asking him to split. And he was like, dude, what happened? Like, nobody ever used to ask this. You know, like he said, it just boggled his mind. He's like, I don't want to split. I want to run for more. But it really is a mentality change, you know, and I think some of that's for the better. But I do think, like Heath, to pick on him, he's like an OG guy. He grew up doing the grudge race thing, and like he can't take that out of his brain. He's like, you know, if we're here, I want to run for all of it. he likes that excitement, which I get that. You know what I mean? Like I get both sides of that coin. You know, like it is funny though how it's just more, I guess, socially accepted is the correct term. Display.
Yeah, I do feel like every pot is split though. What do you guys think?
Well, here's a good question. I hate when racers split, take some of the thrill out of the finals if you know they're going to split every time. So do you guys
maybe if they aren't racing, but I feel like when we're racing, it's enough of a split that we're both giving it 100%. I mean,
if it was 50-50, I still don't want to lose to anybody in the other lane.
Exactly.
There's an ego piece to it still. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like that time Ryan was talking about, he wished he had that pecker tripper thing when he beat me by 0.003 seconds. That was in the finals, and we both gave it 100% of what we thought. Yep. And I think we split 60-40 or something, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, very fair.
Yeah, it was 100% fair, and we still gave the fans a drag race, clearly. So, yep. I mean,
still has to be you came there to win. The money is a benefit, but I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Competitive.
There was a trophy. Kids love trophies.
Well, we don't get the trophies a lot, which I think that's one thing that is missing. You know, like my dad has a wall of NHRA Wallies, and they're so cool, man. And like, you know, my goal in life, I want to catch him and beat him, but like doing what we're doing, I'm never going to catch him because nobody ever gives us a trophy.
Yeah.
Which
they're few and far between. That is for sure.
Yeah, we need more of that. I will tell you guys one example that happened last year so we were in a final, it was 10 grand to win, and like Heath didn't feel like splitting that day, and I can't pick on him either. Like we were all like, okay, let's not split. Like so the guy we were racing, we knew, and you know, like I love him. He's a great guy, and we're just like, let's just run for it. And I tattooed him on the tree. I'm pretty sure. Like it just felt good. Like, yeah, $10,000, you know. But then it was a twin turbo Hemi, and he came around me on the big end by like an inch, and I was like, we get no money today. But it was exciting, you know. Yeah, it was exciting.
Oh, speaking of trophies, I don't have very many, but some.
Cool.
Yes, I mean, I always split. I feel like I will say back in the day, before I was a quote unquote nice guy, I mean, I definitely was like, no, screw you, we're racing for it all. But nowadays, I just don't want people to think I'm an asshole growing up or anything like that. So, like Jason said, it's kind of more for the kids and the growing up generation, and you're out there signing trophy or, you know, signing pictures and T-shirts and stuff like that. That's kind of more what it's about anymore. I'm older and less asshole-ish anymore. So that's just me.
Yeah, I agree.
I will say I never can get any bets. And maybe it's just because you have a top tier car or whatever you want to call it, or I don't even ask to bet in between rounds anymore because 99.999% it's a no.
$20.
But I mean,
always $10 and $20 bets though.
Yeah. So
I mean, I will.
And maybe that is a no prep thing. I don't know. Do you get bets, or do you even ask, or?
No, and just like what the other guy said, or in the comment there, you know, if somebody wanted to bet against me, I am instantly going to take it personal. I'm going to be like, all right, cool, there's my guy. I'm going after that guy right there, you know. And maybe a nice pass is going to be
You're going to lay it on him.
Go
Yeah.
slide
Yeah.
back
Go.
3 inches.
So,
Yeah.
The Pecker extender came out early.
Right.
yeah, nobody ever saw the one that went out.
Yeah.
Exist.
Where did that? There was oh,
One of these
yeah.
days, you're going to see the whole nose go forward about 12 inches.
We did kind of cover that earlier, but how do you guys feel about cars with no front ends?
Honestly, I don't like it. I'm just going to throw that
I
out
don't
there.
either.
But I'm a type of guy that I will race with my front end on every time. You know, like Ryan said, maybe if you can't see over the hood, it is what it is. But my personal opinion is I don't like it, but there aren't any rules against it. So,
Yeah, we don't have any rules again. I don't like rules, so we have no rules.
yeah, I don't foresee rules against it. And if a promoter did, that's just because they don't like it, period, not for anything else. But, you know,
Then he's just like gonna not do it because of that.
yeah.
Do any of you guys take it personal seeing fans bet against you?
Nah.
Uh,
No, never.
This
Like,
last weekend,
I don't.
We
I don't
had-
think when these guys are say in the right lane, I don't ever see the fingers pointing over at the other lane. I don't think they.
This is probably why it's true. Yes.
I used to love it. I had the junkyard car, and I'd be pulling up, prep stuff, but I'd be pulling into the lanes, and everybody's pointing at me. I'm like, there's a 427 in the other lane. This doesn't even make any sense. And I'd end up beating them, and people are coming over giving me some of the money they won. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
it's happened.
Be a good time.
We had a lot of bets against me last weekend against Casey, Buster's boy.
Oh, yeah.
We were running because we were doing horrible, and luckily found the number.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be interesting, Nick, but a lot of no prep racers aren't really about that gambling life like that.
Nick's asking for a lot. I'm not going to lie.
I don't dislike that concept. I'm
I
just
like his
saying-
ideas, but we're in reality here. I'm just saying.
There's
Most
also
of them no prep race. That's more like a grudge race thing, though. Like if grudge racing would ever come back, yeah, for sure. But no prep, not so much.
Yeah.
Well, I think that a lot of these, like a lot of ideas are good, but like, I mean, there's NHRA for a reason, and they have a whole series for a reason. There's NMCA for a reason. There's DuckX Productions for a reason, and like the reason that sponsors invest with those people is because they're not just people; they're series and they're companies, and they're going to be there for a while. And no prep really doesn't have that. Like you have like Outlaw Armageddon, you got some stuff that's been around for a while, but like it's really not going to happen for us the way that everybody wants it to happen until we get unified, period. And
yeah, like one set of rules.
Exactly. There's going to have to be somebody that really takes the helm, and nobody's going to like that because, they are going to, like my dad, back to my dad, he races NHRA. Well, the glue that binds all those guys together is they all hate NHRA, right? So, like, they hate the man that they race for, but it's not really a man. It's this organization that sucks. And I don't know. There's pros and cons to that. But if we want sponsors in for the long haul, if we want, like good, like these good payout things that happen a lot, you need consistency. And consistency is not going to happen when you have every Tom, Dick, and Harry promoting drag races that didn't know about drag races 2 years ago.
Yeah. There's just no regulations, any Tom, Dick, and Harry can go promote a race. They can put it on the internet. They can talk it up all they want. They can say whoever's going to come, and then, it's just unregulated. But I don't feel like we're ever going to get to a point where it is regulated or have any set of regulations such as class rules or anything like that. I think we're way far away from that.
I think everything that everybody hates about the NHRA is what it takes to make that happen. Like membership fees, teching the cars, all that crap.
Yeah, we're no prep's a lower class of that. We're not even there yet.
It would be a full-time business. It would be its own entity. You'd have to have, somebody in every state and all that crap, and it would take a lot of money and a lot of effort. And
Well,
we're not there yet. And I don't think any of us really want the sport to be there, because then you become the HRA real quick, because now such and such cam manufacturer wants to support the new no prep god of all rules. But man, we really don't like that you guys don't enforce 12-point cages. That should be a rule. And that's really what has happened in the HRA, over the years, is all these manufacturers and all the certifications and standards and bullshit is just ways that they've accumulated money to fill their pockets and whatever. I'm not going there. Anyhow, we don't want that. That's why we do this.
Yeah.
It does sound good, though.
I agree with that, but a lot of those rules are in place because the people are stupid, and they learned that they were stupid.
Or other people learned that they were stupid.
Like the longer you put on races, and I think Joey would agree with me, and so would Josh, is you realize how it's crazy. It's a weird thing. And the longer I'm man, I understand why NHRA does it the way they do. I really get it. I may not agree with all of it, but man, I get it. Section A verse 4 says this if it rains. Section A verse this says this if it does this. Because they've experienced everything, they know.
Oh yeah. There's no deviating away from what they say. It is what it is, and this is what it is. Whereas, no prepping, a little bit of gray here, a little bit of gray there. I mean, there's some interpretation to the rules, whereas NHRA stuff, it's black and white. It is it's either you follow it or you don't. And I mean, I feel like most cars are very legal in that sort of thing, and stuff like that. However, there is just a handful that are kind of outside of the ordinary, but that's no prepping, I think.
Yeah, that's what makes it cool, really,
Yeah. A lot of different stuff.
Not agreeing. I'd never want to hamper innovation or progress. So, I mean, our small tire, basic safety equipment, diaper, decent cage, seat belts, suit, 28-10-5 non-W, steel roof and quarters, no wheelie bars. There you go. And it's as black and white as it gets.
For sure.
It's open from there. And that also saves me a ton of headaches.
Right.
Stop finding solution to all these problems. Less micromanaging is the only solution for me. Keep it simple. Always go to promoting races. Stop listening to all the bitching and crying and just focus on what works best for your program. I mean, I do agree with that, but I also agree that we have to protect the future of the sport and do some things. So I don't think I have zero interest in changing any of my small tire rules or philosophies, but maybe there are some
more race cars. More race cars at a race brings more fans brings more potential purse, more purse brings more race car. So it's
maybe
it's a big circle.
Creative on payouts. Maybe that's the solution. Instead of more classes, So yeah, of course, it does look and sound good. I'm sure for you guys, Ryan, $35,000 payout. But if that now is $25,000 payout because we're paying back X amount of spots, it's also kind of the other side of that coin. That the big guys who are consistently winning, you're gonna have to think about too. But
Yeah, and I mean, at my race, I paid $100. That doesn't mean, what if you paid $25? People are still getting money. It's better
Right.
than zero. I think that's the same concept, or even $50.
It's
But-
positive reinforcement.
I still feel like a payout around $5,000 draws the same cars as $10,000. You get above $10,000, those quote unquote ducks, slower cars, they aren't going to show up because they know fast cars are going to show up because it pays so much. So that's why I feel like if you're paying over $10,000, the car count dwindles a little bit, at least in my area of promoting races and experiences. That's what I have seen.
What about doing raffle tickets to the winners of the racers of each round? For something pretty cool that was donated from a sponsor. I mean, that'd be something.
Yeah.
That's giving cash back. If every round you get a compounding increase in raffle tickets, so more chances to win that prize, but maybe the winner's ineligible.
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
I think
I
there's
like
a lot
that.
of ways. I think there's a lot of ways to make the guys that, everybody getting into the race feel like they're going to win something. Because I mean, anything can happen. I mean, we went out first round big tire last weekend, and it's kind of like, that sucks, But it would have been cool if we would have won first round. Maybe second round we got, 5 raffle tickets to a gift card or something.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying is any little thing somebody's going to feel good about, whether it's something versus nothing. And that's just my opinion.
I can dig it. I can definitely get along with that. Ryan, met you at 41. Do you think your big black Chevy combo with the Pro Charger could hang with Street Outlaws cash days? Seems like Hemis were tough.
I mean, the LS really wasn't that far off. We just had a couple things shoot us in the foot with it. So I really think any combination could have worked in that situation. It was still anybody's race, but I mean, the small blocks did get weeded out before I think the final 16. So yeah, I mean, I think just having their 1,000 horsepower probably wouldn't hurt at all to help go further with that race.
Got a subs to their OnlyFans. And I had to search for that comment because of this one. I missed Darcy. Jasper's all in, fellas.
Jasper is a supporter of anything and everything racing. So shout out to Jasper.
Jasper's the most awesome human being on the planet.
Yep, Jasper is awesome.
I'd do anything for that dude. He's cost me a couple relationships over the last month, and fuck those people. Because I know you motherfuckers are watching. I'm being positive now. I know. Listen, I'm sorry. I get excited about my people.
Okay.
Speaking of my people, this dude having the gangster race this weekend and open house next weekend.
I don't know what we were thinking doing it all. But
that's all right.
Yeah, we got
just get it all out of the way now.
We got our last Cincy Street Nights this weekend. Yeah, we've done it for 4 years, man. So it's a little bittersweet to kind of walk away from it, but yeah, I'm glad to be done with it, man. We kept doing it because it really, I don't know, we felt like it was our job to make sure that the local guys had somewhere to race. And when we started it, our shop wasn't what we do now. So, we had a bad weekend a couple weeks ago, and really we were planning on being done with it this year anyway. So a lot of people thought it was just because of that or whatever. And it wasn't, it was definitely a really difficult weekend, but that wasn't the reason why. So yeah, we're gonna try to go out with a bang. We're doing a Saturday deal. It's real simple. I think it's $2,500 to win. It's $100. It's $100 entry, $2,500 to win, $1,000 to runner up, and $250s to the semis. So real cheap buy-in. We got True Street. We got some other bracket classes, but yeah, just if you've liked the event, it'd be cool to see you on Saturday, like just to come hang out and kind of send it off with a deal. And then, yeah, our annual open house is the weekend after, which all you guys are invited. We got a mechanical bull coming. We're doing a mechanical bull riding tournament. It's going to be awesome. Doing practice tree deal. Josh has been to our deal before. It's one of my favorite events that we do. Like it truly is a customer appreciation thing, because to be honest with you guys, like, you know, Tin Soldier would be nothing without the people that support it. So it's our way to give back and, you know, have a really good time and eat some good food and laugh and hang out and be a community, you know, like that. We all want community, right? Like that's why we do this. Like we can say we do it for other things, but like we want to be surrounded by like-minded people, right? And that's what I love most about our business is the people that we get to meet and hang out with and get to rub shoulders with. Some of the best people in the world. So.
For sure.
Bring your butt down, Brian. Everybody that's on the live feed, if you've logged in to watch this, you're automatically obligated to come to the Cincy Street Night Saturday. So we'll see every last one of you there. I decided today also that we're going to give away raffle tickets with every piece of merch that we sell Saturday at Cincy Street Nights. And at 11 p.m., we're going to do a drawing and give somebody half of our total sales for the entire day. So I don't care if you're a racer, spectator, whatever, you buy merch. If we sell $1,000, somebody's getting.
Oh, did we lose Josh?
Uh-oh.
We lost our host.
Josh booted himself.
We're going to dissolve.
Oh no!
Look at this dummy. I just hit the back button on my mouse. I was so excited. I'm so excited. You guys were like, he's not giving nobody nothing. He's out of there.
It was almost a free-for-all.
So, yeah, whatever we sell, somebody's going to win at 11 o'clock. And that's something we want to help do to hopefully help draw and send Jason and the guys off in the most glorious fashion ever on a positive note, and hopefully help make this as big as possible. I've been recruiting racers to come to this thing, and I think we got some pretty cool ones that are going to come. Jasper, by the way, I think you should go. Everybody that thinks Jasper should go should like heart the comments right now. Adjectives, you know.
That dude, man, like he was like one of the first to reach out to me, like to let me know he's thinking about me, you know, like which was really awesome, you know. Like I wear my heart on my sleeve, dude. Like I'm probably not cut out to promote drag races. I cared too much about people's feelings, and you know, when people say mean things to me, I take it pretty hard. So like, yeah, Jasper was one of the first people to, you know, I'm a wuss. I'll be the first to tell you, dude. I'm a pretty emotional dude. So yeah, he was awesome, man. It was great.
Bring your butt down, buddy. They'll have a blast. What's it? Oh, I think they're talking about, I think I missed some of the comments here, but I think they're talking about, was this the mechanical bull? You know, I was talking about that today at lunch. I wonder what my new weight, how well I'll do. Because, you know, keep it real. Last year, I did okay. I did okay, but you know, I'm down about 100 pounds from then. Plus, I actually been working out, so dude, I might be able to get like 2 minutes.
He's really good at the mechanical bull with it. I mean, his legs, he could really grip onto something. I mean, oh yeah.
Come on, man! Don't set me up like that. I got Tony jokes for days.
Dude, the first time I saw Ryan get out of his third fin, I'm like, dude, it's a good thing that door is that long. I mean, that's the right door for that man.
I can't fit in a 4-door. Not with the funny.
You'd never fit in Charlie. You'd be. We'd have to put you in the back seat. Then you'd be good. But
There is a street
if
class.
you ever feel like making a rip in a Ford or nitrous car ride, I'll let you have one. I've been wanting to watch it go down the track.
I got about 150 pounds on you. He'll probably turn a little bit.
Yeah, we got
Chat
a 15-inch turkey in it. Can you fit that?
Yeah, I have no ass. We're good. I may be 6.5 feet tall, but I wear a 32 waist, so we're good.
Oh, you're in, bro. Yeah, we're good.
Chat wants to see Ryan versus Joey on the bull.
I've never ridden one, so that'd be interesting.
Me neither.
It's a good time. You guys are doing test and tune, right? Saturday.
On the bull or the race?
Both. Yeah, you can get as many rides. I can tell you this: you can get as many rides on the bull as you want.
Yeah, you'll be tested up, boys. You'll be ready to go. Yeah, you can test on Saturday. I think we'll have time for that. So yeah, it'll be all right.
And what all classes are you guys doing?
You're gonna make me think now. Small tire, True Street, 650 index, 1150 index, and 13.0 index. I think is all of them. So we kind of tried to keep it simple. I just didn't want to have to deal with a lot for the last one, and I really wanted to try that 530 index but we'll save that for something else. So we're probably not done putting on races 100%. Like, I think that's what people kind of took that as, but like, if you're watching this, like, we'll probably do an event, but I want to have time to like really do an event. Like, I just don't have time to do a monthly series. It's too much for us. But if we could do like one event a year that, that's awesome, and I want to make it more the flavor of our deal, like, to make Cincy String Nights easier, we've let go of a lot of it and still controlled a small portion, but that just doesn't work. To do an event like we want, you have to be in control of the whole thing.
Well, I just posted the link for the event in the comments for everyone. I don't know, guys, anything we didn't really cover? I mean, I know we've kind of covered a lot, and we've kind of not covered some things we talked about, but some of the things we have kind of.
I'm excited to see Capizzi doing frontside no prep next year. I'm like really pumped about that. I love that guy. So if I get to see him more, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I feel left out. We got like 2 or 3 radial events a year right now that I run that car in, and it's like, otherwise it's parked. It's time to break it out. Let's do something different. Dual purpose.
You need to come to the open house anyways, because I got a bunch of stuff for you in my back lot. So you should come for that. That would work. No one else knows what we're talking about, but yeah, it's fine.
Must be a bunch of blow-up dolls or something.
Yeah.
Well,
Capizzi gets all the old cars that we worked on. So like the car that he has now, we fixed it before it wrecked, and he's getting something else from us too. But he's like the TSR recycler, basically.
We should come down. I know I've talked Joe Bipolar. Those guys are going to come down. The more Michigan people, the merrier. There, see if that link works better.
Ryan, where do you live? Do you live in Kansas?
I just moved. We're on the other side into Missouri now, but yeah, we're right out of Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
So kind of it lands on both state lines, or lands on the state line. So we live on the Missouri side now. So we just moved for the kiddos' sake. Found some better schools. So,
gotcha.
Yep, Tony's bringing Novocaine. It is water burnout only.
Yeah, you don't want that track any better than it already is.
They gonna be fine. That's the plan. Tony and his best stepbrother's voice. More secrets. I think they pretty much gave away all the secrets. Luminosity will be there, make a hit or two. So you got some celebrities coming. Yep, definitely go to the open house. We'll be there. It's always a great time. I don't think I've missed any of them. It's always fun. My secret is what was missing the time I saw you naked. She's not so funny. Kind of touched on that. Is it hard for you guys juggling family time during race season?
Big time.
Extremely.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees on that.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Nope, I have been working on it, but it's not close, and I've kind of changed gears and had to make some difficult reprioritization decisions.
Capizzi, do you think you'll race more now since your boy wants to drive?
Definitely. I'm trying to figure out kind of where to put him or where to keep him. You know, we talked about doing hard tire, which even that right now is, you know, like I don't want to give up, you know, too many ET things, but like it's not that far behind like True Street on a slick or anything else. So it's like, just trying to figure out, like he's been fast on a smooth radial track. You know, he's been 540s and 850 already, but just kind of teaching him the driving part of a looser top end. And I don't know how to teach that other than kind of feeding them spoonfuls of power and just kind of working them into the faster stuff little by little. Probably how we all learned, you know, get it to the edge of control and keep pushing.
Have him drive a motorhome with a trailer.
Touche.
If you could drive a motorhome with a trailer, you're good. Drive a no prep car. 100%.
Through a construction zone.
Yep. The sway will keep you awake for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been a riot. We've had him in the car a little bit. I think he's got 13, 14 passes in that car now, and really enjoying it. And yeah, just kind of trying to get him up to speed a little more and not baby him, but not push him too fast either. Trying to figure out that right, you know, here's a little extra, learn what to do with it speed.
Yeah.
I saw pictures of it. I didn't see it make a pass.
It was wiggly.
It looked cool, the picture.
It looked so cool. I'll take a video of it.
Rear-wheel drive on empty parking lots. How my grandpa taught me how to drive a race car.
Nah, gravel roads is the way to go. Or gravel roads.
All right. Well, I think we about covered everything and then some. I don't know what else you guys want to know about being a small tire gangster like these guys. Again, I'm sure if you approached them respectfully when they're not, you know, in the heat of trying to get ready for the next round and, you know, obviously be considerate of what they're doing, but I'm sure you could have conversations with them and get some tips and tricks in person. And if that isn't the case, I'm sorry, guys. I just royally screwed you.
No, all them got time, bud. They ain't got a nitrous car. They got plenty of time.
You're saying when we're down at the finish line waiting for you to make the turn.
As long as everything goes to plan, it doesn't typically work like that, Joey. But there are.
God, I hope we get some snow this year so we can do a snow prep. I love that. It's so much fun. A little bit, but mostly it was just like everything else, trial and error, making lots of passes, being dedicated. If you missed the first hour, pretty much covered all that kind of stuff. So if you didn't watch it, go back and watch it. But all right,
I got one thing, and then I'll jump off. Tomorrow we're dropping a podcast with my buddy Martin Conley. That's the guy that won DXP Street. He's been a small tire racer for 20 years on the radial side of stuff. So if you're interested in what we're talking about here, he's such a great perspective. Like my interview with him was so fun. Like he's such a bad dude that's done it on like a shoestring budget. So it's really awesome to listen to him talk. He needs subtitles a bit because he's hillbilly, but it's a really great conversation.
And that'll be on YouTube.
Yeah, tomorrow at 5. Yeah.
So make sure you do. And I always share their links when I see them. So I'll make sure to look for it and share it so you guys can. If you're not if you're not following them, first of all, why aren't you?
Yep. Step one, click.
Yeah, all of these guys.
Well, and you guys,
all
of you have an open invite to our shop. If you're in the area and you need a place to crash, like we have a huge back lot, you can come and sleep back there, do whatever you want. We have a washer and dryer in the shop. We actually even kind of have a family room up front with like a couch and like we believe in hospitality, right? So like you guys are, I mean this when I say it, like you're all welcome to stay there. Like it's for all of us, right? And if the only thing I ask is if you come and hang out with us, then just be on a podcast with me. Let's have a conversation. But yeah, you're all more than welcome to stay there. The airport's 10 minutes from the shop, so if you decide you want to drive just to us and then you fly home, you can do that. So,
thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Ryan, any parting thoughts or words?
Just keep on trying, and promoters are going to keep making racing better for everybody. So I think there's still a lot of growth left in the sport.
Joey?
Keep on keeping on. Hopefully a lot of people learned a lot from us, just thinking outside the box and keeping notes. One of the biggest things I teach, obviously a lot of us sell tuning services, whether it's chassis, John does Holly tuning, Ryan does all of it. And one of the biggest things I have seen with customers is the lack of data management as far as, having a spreadsheet, keeping notes, stuff like that. I feel like that's my biggest thing that you could learn from me is have organization and notes on your race car. And that will help you do better first round, do better at knowing your car and stuff like that. So I feel like that's the biggest thing I can teach others, of anybody that's listening, I guess.
And so you have a spreadsheet that is part of your service that you sell?
Yeah. I do give it to a lot of my customers. And I mean, it's very basic stuff. The hardest part is filling it out. Darcy makes fun of me every pass. I fill it out, down the line, your launch RPM boost, stuff like that, timing retard, tires, shocks. How do you have weight in the car in the front? Do you have it in the back? Where's your instant center? What are some major items that you changed for this event? Where is this event? The date, obviously. what kind of tires are you on? How many pits do they have? What size are your wheels? Because I have different size wheels. So, just anything you can think of. And then the things that you'll change every round, launch RPM, boost, timing, stuff like that. Those are the things that you would change every round. And then obviously fill out how fast you went, 60 foot, 330, 660. Back in the day before we had draggies, I would time my 0 to 60 miles an hour and 0 to 100 miles an hour so that I could know if I was improving or not. And stuff like that, I feel like, is the biggest advantage when I go to races, is having data. And that's not just because I've raced my car for years like these other guys. We all change our combinations often. Like, for instance, Ryan's got a brand new Pro Charger combo. Do you think he knew exactly where to do that because he's had his car for 20 years? Probably not. It's just because we make good educated guesses based on prior data, and then he gathers data and moves on. So you could be better, you as in racers watching this, could be better if you took more notes. It takes a lot of time to take notes, but in the end, it's a lot better because then you can look back, hey, this surface is just like, US 36 or whatever. I know my car did this at a surface like it, so we're going to start there. Stuff like that. Instead of, I know some people save tune-ups, but I don't like saving tune-ups because I change so much stuff moving forward. So, fueling, timing, stuff like that. So I just look at specifics for each tune-up and then make a new one and go from there. But that's my knowledge of the day, I guess, is just keep data, take notes and stuff like that. You would greatly improve your program if you're not doing that.
For sure.
Here I go, rambling on again.
No, it's perfect. I mean, but that's the stuff people need to hear and know, because that's how you progress.
That's the play-by-play.
Yeah.
I take each pass and multiply it by 250 and make sure there's like 20 different surfaces and all that. And then you can be confident anywhere in the country and load XYZ and off you go.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, obviously knowing how to read a surface, whether you use a traction meter or your foot, that is just learned over time, that you can't teach somebody that. So you just got to get good at it. But taking notes is free and easy. All it does is cost you time, and it will definitely make you better in the long run.
Can we see your notes?
I explained several of the items on my notes. You just have to play it back. But just think of stuff that you change every run, or stuff that you feel like would be important for when you go racing. And, like somebody mentioned, I build my tune-up the week of the race so that when I get there, all I have to do is critique it a little bit and move on. And, you're much less stressed out or in a rush. If something happened on the way there, you're already ready and prepared. Remember, poor planning prevents piss poor performance. So just be prepared.
Awesome. John, how about you, buddy?
I one kind of piece to the puzzle, and nothing about the car, but win or lose, whether we're standing on the fence or anything else, there's people watching us. And just kind of a note to try to be a good example of a racer, a spectator, a support person. little kids are at a bunch of these events. They see the bad, they see the good, they see people that are friendly. Some guys let people sit in their cars. Some people have, velvet ropes around their cars. And I don't know, just try and I think back to, the first times I was at a racetrack, and, the friendly people are the ones that you always kind of want to do better. So I don't know, there's just I think we're all very blessed. We've been given certain gifts, certain experiences, certain friends who have, certain gifts that we don't have, and just try and use our talents for what God kind of gave them to us for. So I think it's easy to get lost in the moment, but just trying to be a good person and kind of carry the sport forward.
I agree. And Darcy, I agree with that. And I left that up there because that's something I'm working on in other aspects of my life, because I've never rose to the occasion. I've always fallen to my level of preparedness in everything I've done. So I think that luck favors the prepared. And I just wanted to elaborate on that a little bit, because you're right. And John, you're definitely right. We need less assholes and more good people.
That's why I quit being an asshole. It wasn't doing any good. And, like John said, there's always kids out there watching you. You better, set a good example. And having kids, that was before I had kids. So now having kids, you see that, and you just want to be the nice guy out there, no matter win or lose, whatever.
No, I agree. Well, kids definitely remember negative stuff a lot more than they do positive stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You do a kid 100 times, and you can be a dick once, and guaranteed the only thing you remember.
My kids can tell you the cars that won. They can also tell you the guy that was yelling at his wife in the pits. those two things. So they might not remember the guy who was nice, but they will definitely remember if you were doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And couldn't agree more. Kids, fans, or everything. It's my favorite part. Like, kids are my kryptonite. I always get whatever about that mushy and always make time. I'm nobody, but, be nice for the kids. All right. I love how Joe's been so open about his change and why. I respect that.
Oh, I still have a wife. I don't have a husband yet.
Be a good ambassador for the sport. I agree. So, no, I agree. I think this was great. I think you guys did an amazing job of keeping everything positive. There was only one of us that went the negative route a couple of times, and one out of the 3 comments he's sorry for. The other 2, so I'm still about fuck them people. But I know you're watching. But anyhow, I think it's I like it. I like your guys' ideas. I want to hit you up and get a more detailed layout on how you did your payouts, Joey.
Yeah, no problem.
I mean, we gave so at our race we gave out 27,000 in small tire, and that definitely could have been distributed a little further back. Unfortunately, we had a wreck that ended the race and it got split 3 ways. But had it finished, and even at that, it still could have been gone back farther than those 3 spots.
Oh, for sure.
So no, so I mean, I guess just like full disclosure, I want to be competitive like everybody else, because everybody all of a sudden, even 2 years ago, it was like if you had $5,000 or $10,000 race, you were really doing something. But now, kind of as a promoter, you kind of feel like you're not doing anything if you're not minimum of 20 grand.
Yeah.
So it definitely puts you in a predicament of performance and whatnot. But I think maybe your idea it's a good one. I like it. I appreciate you.
Yeah, and something I noticed, just because I'm a math kind of guy, the amount of cars mainly paid for your payout. So I think the difference between 16 cars showing up and 32 cars showing up was maybe $2,000 in different. Even though I still paid out the same, the difference was the amount of rounds, because that's when I transitioned to larger payouts. So
Right.
I've got it all written down though. I'll gladly message you the brackets and the layout and all that. I got no problems doing that. So just shoot me a message tomorrow or whatever, and I'll get you squared away.
I appreciate that, buddy. I appreciate all you guys coming on. It's been a long one. It's 10 o'clock, but a lot of great info. I think I think there's a lot of good stuff here that everybody can grow from, and keep the sport positive and keep it around. We all need to do our part to keep these tracks around quickly. People who complain, let's just say there's lots of complainers, and people buy into that stuff, and events get smaller. The quick and the short of it is a compound effect eventuality of more tracks closing, and we already have enough closing as it is. So let's all just enjoy the sport, enjoy each other, and have some fun, and figure out how to make it more of a win-win. I mean, I guess that's my takeaway from this too. Maybe not changing classes, but maybe finding a common ground where it's more of a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate you guys coming on and sharing your knowledge with me. I got a lot from it, and I hope all the viewers did as well. And yeah, you rock. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank
Yeah.
you.